I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. Hello, everyone, and I'm really excited to introduce you today to Morgan Templar, who is with First CDO Partners. She's not actually with them; she is the CEO, and she works as a data and AI governance visionary, and that has got me so intrigued. So Morgan, if I'm really eager to dive into your career journey. So give us an overview of what you do and how you got into it.
Well, I believe that you should be working towards finding somebody every day whose life you can make better. And I found early in my career that by improving data, it improved the experiences of people. If we have better information, we can better help you, we can better serve you, we can better communicate and connect. And so I kind of made it my life's mission to work in the data field and to make data more accessible and improve that data. So I worked my way up from secretary to chief data officer in healthcare over a 20-year period. So I kind of sat in all of the seats. So I have a fairly empathetic perspective on what we need to do to make data better and how it can be made better and what we can do with it when it is made better. And so when I formed my company, I wanted to help the chief data officers out there who maybe don't have that same experience. Maybe they went to school and got their PhD in data science, and now they're leading a team of data people, and they don't really have that same boots on the ground experience that I have. And so we work with different data officers and data teams to improve their strategy, help them build out innovation, help them understand if they're stuck in a spot. But more than anything, we're looking for opportunities to help organizations do good with the data that they have in their organization.
Oh, wow. That's a lot to unpack. So the one thing I think I heard you said is that you actually kind of grew up in the healthcare arena. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
So that's where you got your boots on the ground experience.
It is. I guess you'd say it's probably my third career, but in the dot-com bust when my company closed, I was the last person out the door, locked it up, and didn't know what I was going to do and needed a job and had 4 little kids. And a friend said, hey, I can get you in as a temporary secretary in security at the Primary Children's Hospital. And I'm like, sure, I'll take it. I can start tomorrow, right? Like, yeah, you can start tomorrow. But it was more than that because I always took that stretch assignment. And so I got to learn how to do hazmat, and I got to work with the FBI hazmat team during the 2002 Winter Olympics that was stationed at our hospital. And that was super cool. So I got to I always just said yes to the next assignment, even though it wasn't in my job and it wasn't the thing that I was, I may not have known anything about. Start a nursing program. Sure. Why not? I mean, how hard can it be, right? So, yeah.
I think what resonates with me about that is that sometimes we don't even know what we need. It just presents itself as an opportunity. And if we're willing to take it, right?
Absolutely. I would say my career is absolutely just peppered by saying yes to the next thing. And yes, sure, I'll be the president of the Association for the State of Utah. Sure. Oh, that means you want me to interview. I really don't want to change companies. Please come and interview. Okay, fine. And that started my management journey. Everything in my life is just presented at the time that I was ready for it without really having to go out and look for it. Because I was willing to say yes, and I was always willing to do more than the job required, because I don't believe in just doing the minimum viable product. I think that if someone's paying me for my time, they're paying for me to give my best, and so my best is maybe it's well, it's not a comparison to anybody else. It's my best.
It's your best. That's right. Awesome. Well, it sounds very fascinating. And I'm very curious because you have in your job title AI. So tell me about all of the changes that are occurring now in your data industry because of AI.
It's amazing. I'm so excited. So I've been building technology and building out data platforms for maybe 15 years now. And we've been building what we would call AI, machine learning and AI, through most of that time. And it was very localized and very technical. When ChatGPT happened, and it was a happening, it wasn't just, oh, look, here we are. It burst onto the scene, and suddenly it was AI for everyone. And everyone has the ability to utilize AI. Now, I haven't coded. I've never been trained in coding, but I used to do some computer programming, but I haven't done that for a long time either. And so when I look at before, like, oh, I wish I could just make this computer do this, I can't make it do this. You can literally go online to an AI now and say, I want a program that will do these 4 things, and I want to put it here, and I need to use this information that I have available. And it will give you the code that you can copy and paste and put in your environment, and it will work if you know how to do that. I mean, that's not as easy as it sounds, but you do have to know how to deploy code, but you can literally code without knowing how to code. I had a friend the other day say, tell one of the young men he mentored. He said, I'm really good at a lot of things, but I just don't understand the math in learning how to code. That's my problem. I can't do that advanced math. It's over my head. And my friend has said, why would you need to code? Why would you even bother to take a class in that? AI will do all of that for you today. All you need to know is how to be innovative, what problems need to be solved, how do you put the pieces together to solve the problem, and source all of those different things just from wherever they are. I mean, it is. I know that sounds very disjointed, but I have across my top bar on my Google, on my Chrome, 11 AIs. I use 5 or 6 of them every day.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. So I just immediately take advantage of the opportunity. I jumped right into ChatGPT. I had a 2-hour conversation yesterday about well, I wanted to know about these executive orders about DEI and what did Biden's mean and what does Trump's mean. And so I had a 2-hour conversation with ChatGPT about it and how different are they, and they're trying to solve the same problem in 2 different ways, and why does that not resonate with some people and why does it resonate with others? And it just brought in all of this amazing information. I told it could only look at government sources. So it went to all of these different government sites and brought me back information that I would never have been able to research on my own.
And even have the time to do it.
Exactly.
Even if we wanted to, right? So that is so fascinating. So I'm really curious because I know what I hear a lot is people's concerns about losing their jobs to AI. But my perspective so far has been it just really makes us much more efficient. And you can't take the AI is not going to be able to do the human element, the connection. AI is not going to be able to share with me the enthusiasm that I'm feeling from you when you're describing your circumstances, right?
I think that's true for a while. And I guess I would say, AI isn't ready to take our jobs yet, but it is actually going to take some early tech jobs away. Like I probably won't need to hire 15 data analysts to go out and map data from one system to the other, because that can be done with an AI. And so as a small business owner, I use AI instead of having to pay for a lot of people. I can, even as an executive, have the time to go and do that research and bring it back to me, and then I can write what I want. Or I can even say, bring all that research back, and then I can see what you brought back, and I can say, I'd like you to write up. I actually designed something last week, and I did the research. I had it bring back all the information. I described, you can use text or voice now for a lot of these things. I hit the microphone on ChatGPT. I described what I wanted. I said, use the research you just brought back, and I want you to bring me the answer in the form of a patent application. And 5 minutes later, I had this patent application for something I've been working on for 2 years. And so we're getting ready to patent this process that we've been building. And now we've done the research thanks to AI helping me do that research, even formatting that into the right kind of presentation to be a patent application. And we're off to the races.
Wow, that is amazing. Oh, to make that much progress. But again, you know how to drive the train. That's the thing, is we have to learn the skill set to know the right ways to phrase the questions and get it to do the work for us, right?
We do, but it's not as hard as you think. There's a lot that's been said about prompt engineering, and we need to learn to be prompt engineers. Don't ever learn that, anybody, because I've learned to work with ChatGPT particularly. I don't use Gemini or any of the others. They might be great, but I don't know how to use them. But I've trained ChatGPT by putting the things that I've written into a private GPT, so nobody sees them but me. And so I'm training the model on things that I write, on things that are my voice. And so I don't query. I say, ChatGPT, I need this. And sometimes I'll say, you're being really lazy. I need you to go and look again. And I just talk to it, just plain up, flat out English. I want you to do this. And that you didn't try very hard. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go and try harder.
Let me do that one more time. Okay, that's so awesome. Wow. So tell me, what makes you unique in the way that you're working with companies? Or it sounds like more companies than individuals.
Yeah.
But tell me more about, what's really making you unique from anybody else that might be doing what you're doing.
So I think the biggest thing is that we look at the end-to-end data landscape, and we're not really looking at, let's get you a data strategy, or let's give you a 2-year roadmap, because I've been down every path. Like I said, I've been down most of these paths in data are dead ends because they take too long, and because I've put the time in and worked with some of the best minds in the industry in a volunteer capacity. I understand that we have to move fast. And so we've collected essentially a card deck of these are solutions, and we will hear what your problem is, and then we'll deal you out a hand that is the right solution that will fill all of your gaps and help you have an end-to-end process. That really, that's not the solution anybody else does. Everybody else says, buy my product. Well, we don't. Honestly, until this year, we have never sold software. We've actually always been services only and an advisory only. But now this year, we've actually found some software that we feel like it's worth our time being the people who actually bring this to others, because it's the answer. It's how do you find all of your information, not just some of your information? Mm-hmm. And if you really want to do AI right, you have to be able to do all of the information. And that's what we're actually patenting, is the solution that we've come up with in the end-to-end, pulling all of your information to be able to be ready for AI.
Yeah, how exciting. That's awesome. So tell me, where do you see the industry going in just the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, it could be anything, right?
Yeah, and I think it will be anything. It's interesting. I quoted someone for a job this week on Monday, and I only would quote out specifics for 2 months. And she said, well, it's longer than 2 months. I said, in 2 months, everything will look different. So I can give you the pattern of how we're going to work, but I can't tell you exactly how we're going to do it until we get there and we evaluate where we are and we decide where we're going next and what's available to help us get there. Meanwhile, it's my job to stay up to date on everything that's happening, learn the tools, find the tools, be in the community, and really just being aware of all of the new advances. And so 5 years from now, we are not going to look anything like we do. We will have robots in the home. We will have personal AI assistants, not like Alexa, but actually your own family's personal AI. In fact, there's one available now. My husband's like, that's my next computer. I'm like, okay, well, and the crazy thing is, if you know how to build your own computer, you can get your AI engine for like $250 from NVIDIA. And if you want to buy their laptop, it's $2,600. So you can already buy your own AI right now. Now, that's not for everyone. That's you really have to know how to use that. But for the rest of us, because I put myself in the non-technical bucket, things are happening so quickly that before you know it, I mean, we're just accepting that it's okay just to ask ChatGPT questions, and it's been 2.25 years, right? Not even 2.5 years since it came out in November of 2023. And so as we, 2022, we're just accepting this, and partly because we've been watching Star Trek and Star Wars and these futuristic television shows. And I honestly do not have any problem imagining that 5 years from now, we will have some version of the Star Trek computer that knows us, that knows our wants and our likes, and we can just say, computer, give me something for dinner that will be soothing, and it will know exactly what I want and what that is, and it will just poof, it'll be in the microwave, and I will know it. I won't have had to have done anything. I don't know that we'll get to a food synthesizer quite that soon, but the idea of like, oh, here are 3 recipes that you can make in 10 minutes or less that, might be helpful with what you have in your refrigerator. That is going to happen and has been on the drawing board of companies for a while.
Wow, you're blowing my mind. But I can envision it, and it's also exciting. So I'm going to shift gears just a little bit here. I want to ask you about personal challenges. Well, and I'll say personal or professional, whichever route you want to go. What's been the biggest challenge that you faced to this point in your life, and how is that shaping the way that you're doing business today?
There are a couple. And I will share the one that really I for years didn't ever want to talk about. But I have a severe allergy to peanuts. Like if you eat peanuts and breathe near me, I can go into anaphylactic shock. If I'm walking down the street behind you and you open a granola bar full of peanuts, I have to cross the street. If I can't work in certain areas of the country because they grow peanuts and they eat peanuts. And so it's a really significant thing, but nobody's that allergic. I mean, statistically, we don't exist. I know 2 or 3 people because you tend to find support groups, but statistically we don't exist. And so for a long time, people wouldn't believe me. They would think I was making it up. They'd sneak those peanut M&Ms in, and I'd end up on the floor and an EpiPen in my leg. And so it's been a really difficult thing to get past the embarrassment of having to say, hey, you all, I know that you don't want to, but you have to change what you're doing around me. You have to change your behavior so that I don't die. And when, people get upset about it, and they do, I've literally had people complain to HR that I was making it up just to inconvenience them. And, I've had to get through that. And that was at a time when I was still a little bit embarrassed to just say, hey, guys, put the peanuts away, please. You don't really want to be the ones who kill me because I will die. So stop it. And I've just gotten a little bit more vocal about it, but the world has become a little bit more welcoming about it too. We have a lot more extreme illness and we hear more about it. But, that's been really challenging. And I was an adult when that happened. So luckily I didn't have that all the way through my childhood. But when I became allergic to peanuts, it was boom, very serious immediately. So, it does challenge how I do business. I don't travel a lot. I can only fly on 2 airlines. Everybody else is contaminated. I still wear a mask, even on those airlines, because people do bring peanuts on. I can't take a job in certain cities where that's where all my opportunity is, and I can't take it. And, I get invited to interview, and well, the job would be located in Atlanta or Raleigh. Thank you very much for your time. I won't be able to continue because unless you could let me work remotely, I can't. Well, thanks to COVID, people are more willing to be flexible about remote work. And so I've always done remote work. I mean, because I've had teams that are in different states. And so I always feel like if you're not in the same building, you're already doing remote work. So, that wasn't new for me, but the acceptance is new. And what happened because of COVID, and so many new things happened we had to talk about from a healthcare perspective, that it's really changed a lot in my life.
Wow. And I will tell you that having that's something that's not visible, and the only way people know about it is if you tell them. That's hard too. That's really challenging. And literally, I've been on the airplane when somebody said peanut allergy, and everybody just kind of flipped out. So I've seen that personally, and I do know 2 young children that are highly allergic and have kind of just been in the background of the medical treatment that they've used to introduce it to them. And I can't even fathom what that would be like. So and I think we're getting a little bit more empathetic. I have type 1 diabetes. You wouldn't know that unless I told you, unless I was having a low blood sugar episode, right? So I've experienced that as well. But for me, I have a wheat allergy. So I'm always, taking my own food just in case, even if I tell somebody, they don't even know what all is in something that they're cooking. They just think, oh, okay, it's not wheat bread, so it's okay. But yeah, so anyway, I share that with you just because I can get it. All right, so I'm going to ask you another question, personal. If you could have lunch with anybody, living or deceased, who would that be and why?
Luc Besson.
Yeah.
Luc Besson and his wife, they make movies that tell the story of my life. And I will leave it at that. But their movies, I'm not a superhero, and I'm not, but they resonate with me in a way that I absolutely understand kind of where they're coming from. I see that same vision in things, and I find them to be fascinating, the projects they take on and how often they resonate with me. And I would love to just find out where they get their inspiration.
Oh, cool. That's the first time I've heard that one. So yay, that's creative and outside of the box. So I'd love to know, or have you share with our audience, the best way for folks to reach out to you if they want to learn more about the work that you do or how they might work with you. Where's the best place to reach you?
Well, the best place to reach me is LinkedIn. I do read all my LinkedIn messages. I acknowledge I am 3 weeks behind right now, but I do read them all. And so if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, direct message me. If you want to connect with me, I'm an open connector. So you can send me a connection request, and I'm not going to say no unless it's creepy.
So you heard it first. Don't be creepy if you want to connect with Morgan. I agree with that 100%. Well, Morgan, you've been a very gracious person on our podcast, and I know people will be eager to reach out to you. So thank you for being a guest today.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.